Howdy, gun people. Decided to pull out the old M1 Garand. Kind of put some oil. I can't remember the last time I had this out. It's been a while. But I'm pulling it out now. So I've done a few videos on this about oil and spraying, and I redid this stock. Man, this stock was so... I'm so impressed at how this came back to life. I just put some of this tung oil on it, and it really came back to life nice. I can't remember if this is a hard one to pull up or not. Normal. Yeah, I think I'm going to need to put something in there. See if this little thing will fit. Yeah, this fit. Give me a little leverage. Whew, there we go. This little sucker should just pop right out. Got a little oil on it. Looks pretty clean. Sometimes I just like to take a Q-tip on things, and I'm just drinking my coffee. It's a little cold this morning, so I'm just, I fed the horses. So I'm just going to take a little Q-tip, kind of rub it around and see if I get any dirt, rust, anything that would... That almost looks like a little rust right there. A little sediment. Could be old oil sitting in there. So I got a little dirt off there. Not a lot. I don't know what that discoloration right there is. I'm going to take this 4/0 steel wool just a little bit. I'll show you before. That discoloration, I don't know if it's coming out because I'm staring right into the lights. Just going to rub this steel wool on there. Not a whole bunch of pressure. Steel wool always makes things kind of smooth and fine. I don't know if you can tell that it kind of cleaned that up a little bit. Other side, I don't see any of that. All this looks pretty good. This just seems really rough. But I'm not seeing any rust or anything, which is all good. I'm going to let this trigger release here. Saw a little oil in there. You guys can see that. I want to take a clean Q-tip and see if that's just oil or if I'm getting a little dirt. Again, this is after this thing's been sitting in a safe for a couple, maybe 2 or 3 years. So I'm getting a little bit what I see rust in there. I don't like that. That discoloration. Could be oil, but I'm thinking not. So not a fan of what this Q-tip looks like on the inside here. So that's discolored that Q-tip a little more than I like. Oh, right here. And that little, where this little thing was. Again, not a fan of that. And every time, you know, people say, oh, I haven't shot the gun, I don't need to clean it. When you let your guns sit, even in a safe after you've cleaned them and oiled them, you can kind of get, I know people say metal doesn't seep and doesn't contract and blah. I think you do get a little loosening of stuff that wasn't loose before because it's been sitting for a year with oil on it. It's kind of helped dissolve anything. That really got that Q-tip a lot dirtier than I wanted. Switch to clean side. So I'm removing all kind of old oil. I'm not really replacing anything. Any nook and cranny, groove. Now what a lot of people like to do with these is they just spray them down with oil and then take them out with a compressed air blow dryer and just blow all that out. And that really gets oil everywhere and it gets any dirt anywhere. I'm not going to do this because I don't see it being that dirty. But I could do that. You know, I steal wool out of the way. Dirty Q-tips there. We have that out. Should be able to take the, once you pull that, if you let the weight of this pull, just kind of tap it like so. I see it moving. You see it kind of coming out there? Soft taps, nothing. Get ready to catch it. You're holding it here, so when it swings out, you don't drop it because it's heavy. And so now we have the just the wood stock. And I'm just going to put a coat of wax on this and wax it down and then wax it off. Wax is a good protectant, helps moisture from going in and out, changing. Probably put some, I don't even know what I have in here, if I have anything in there. Let's take a look in there. Sometimes when I don't use these things for a long time, you want to open these hinges every once in a while too to make sure they don't like rust. So let's see if we got any surprises in there. Nope, just looks like a couple wood holes. I could put a couple of rounds. Nothing in there. So I could actually take this off and wax the inside of this. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know if I did that before or not. Let's just pull this off. Little flathead screwdriver there. I'm just going to pull that off. I don't like using mechanical screwdrivers on my guns. Too easy to strip, cross thread. Takes a little time this way, but so one long screw and one short screw, and one looks like it's metal threaded and one looks like it's wood. So I'm going to go ahead and put some wax on both of these to stop. I don't know if there's any rusting on it already. Let me grab a cloth here. This cloth's pretty clean. Let's see if there's any rust on this. This was in the wood. Ah, see that? Got a little rust off there. So I'm going to clean this off and wax it, because wax, I'm using wood wax, and if it's going into wood, it's not going to hurt the wood. Even if it's going into metal, it's not going to hurt the metal. I got a little dirt and rust off this one. So I need to, yeah, this one's a little dirty here. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe see a little rust right in there. And this just happened. I mean, this is a gun. This gun was made in 1940. So to keep it, this little thing right here for these grooves on this screw, I'm going to take a little metal brush here. And I probably already got oil on this brush, but if I don't think that's good enough, which it probably did remove some, let me see. That removed a lot. All that black stuff right there came off those grooves. So I'm going to put a little drop of oil on there, some brake free. And now I'm going to scrub it with that brake free on there. So grooves and thing, I'll just go ahead and get this whole thing. And those little grooves on the top there, as long as it's not blued and you're not going to rip your bluing off, I'll go ahead and take this metal brush here, and that will get in that little groove of the screw that's exposed, and that should have removed any rust in there. This one has a little bit of rust. Don't know if you can see it. I just use that same brush and kind of get in there. And that should have removed that. Now I'll wipe this down on this clean area of the cloth here and see if I got any rust off there. Got some good black. That could be from the wire brush. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to put some wax on that. I didn't get a whole bunch of dirt off that. Okay, so that's that little metal plate there. Let me see if this metal plate will come off. That was pretty simple. It's my wood underneath there. If I was thinking smart, I would have pulled this off when I put the tongue oil on here. But that's alright, I'm just going to put some... This wood doesn't look dry. I'm wondering if I pull this off and put some oil on it when I first got it. Uh-oh, what was that? Oh. That was this piece falling out of here. So I'm guessing, didn't know that, this long screw here holds that in. Didn't know that till it fell out. So since it fell out, I'm going to clean this off, put some paste wax on that. Glad that fell off. So if you look at this, this kind of has probably where I put that tongue oil on there. See that discoloration? I'm pretty sure that steel wool will just take that right off. Let's see if that'll work. I'm just going to try a little steel wool on there. On one little spot so you can tell the difference. Okay, see that difference? That steel wool took it off. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up so it looks cleaner. With a little steel wool. And then I'll put some good wax on here. So I have that good coating of wax. Hell, that tongue oil probably put a good protectant on here. There's no rust because that tongue oil sealed and air can't get into rust. So this little hinge right here looks pretty dry. Probably hasn't been oiled in a while, so I'm going to put some oil down in there, put a drop of oil in there. See if that hinge will loosen up. Oh yeah, just one drop of oil. You can see where I oiled that. work it a few times. Nice little hinge. Don't want that to get rusty. Looks pretty good. This little piece I use for little pieces. I thought I had some more bigger pieces. Here's a little bigger piece. That 4/0 steel wool. Let me just cut me a piece of that. This probably dulls your scissors. Probably shouldn't cut it too much with that, but I do. Not worried about it too much. Got so many things in here. So let's get this little steel wool here. Put a little drop of oil on there. And just cleaning that with this steel wool here. And that should clean up any of that tung oil or anything else that's been dried on there over the years, where they packed it with cosmoline or whatever. There we go. That piece is looking pretty new. So sometimes when I pull out my guns that I haven't cleaned in a while, I find new areas that I didn't do before, such as this. So that oil has all been absorbed and gone on that little latch, which is nice. I'll put another little drop in there on each corner. Alright. So that little piece is done. Put some wax on that, and this thing looks like it, because I didn't even know this came off, looks like it has some coating on it too. I don't know, that kind of that tung oil kind of looks like it gives it a nice protection. I don't know if I want to remove all that or not. Kind of gives it a little class. Yeah, I kind of like that. So since I can't get in this groove here, I'm going to take this screw that actually goes into here, put a drop of oil on it, and then screw that in and out. And that will lubricate the grooves. And then I'll wipe it off and see if I got any rust. So I'll thread that in good. And this should be cleaning and lubricating both threads on the male and female. Wipe this off. Oh, I got a lot of dirt. Woo! Okay. That really cleaned up nicely. This little bolt that looked pretty clean wasn't as clean as I thought. So because I'm not worried about lubricating, I'm more worried about rust preventative, I'm going to wax the threads on that bolt. And when I screw that bolt in here, that wax is going to create a barrier to the oxygen that causes rust, the moisture and oxygen. I didn't know this, but evidently people have been using wax on knives and blades for a long time to protect them. I did not know that. I discovered wax, one of my viewers, I don't know, 5 years ago, got me turned on to wax for protection. I did a couple tests. I stuck a gun in my garage that was blued with nothing but wax on it, and I mean, 2 years later, it looked freaking great. So, this looks pretty stinking clean. I remember when I cleaned this last time. I want to get some oil or some wax on the barrel though, because the barrel's inside, and unless you pull it apart, you can't have access to these. So I'm going to go ahead and put some wax on these moving parts. So it may not cycle as well. You know, it's pretty protected. Maybe I won't put it on the inside. I definitely want to get the barrel, the gas tube off here and do that. My battery was a little low. It looks like I'm at half level there. Of course, I thought I had a tool for this, but I can never find it when I need it. So, you know what? I had this oiled up so good, I don't even need a damn tool. Looks like it's coming off. It is coming off pretty easy. I'm going to go ahead. Oh, I should take that spring off first because that spring's under tension. So this tube here, if you know about this whole spring is compressed in here. So by taking this off first, I release that tension when this screw comes out. So let me disconnect this little bad boy. If I remember how. Alrighty. So now that spring's out. So now I can finish taking this. This little nut right here really doesn't hold any tension. It just stops this thing from spinning. So this nut stops this from screwing off. So it's basically a retainer nut. So it doesn't need a whole lot of torque. I mean, you don't want to lose it, but then this ends up spinning off. And then once that spins off, this slides off, or is supposed to slide off. My little rubber mallet here. Let me get a little bigger mallet there. There we go. Just on there a little tight. There we go. So you can tell I put some, this little piece here needs to be cleaned inside and out. I mean, I've cleaned it, sure, before. See, I have some oil sitting on there. You can tell where I oiled it up. I'm going to wipe that with a clean cloth and see if that's oil or if it's a little bit of rust and dirty. Looks like it's just dirt. So because that sat in there, the gun was clean, but that oil almost works as dissolving dirt and other issues. And this gun was clean. If you looked at my last cleaning video, I cleaned the crap out of it. So this wood piece is going to come off now. I took that piece out and cleaned that real well. Cleaned the interior of that. There we go. I didn't have it lined up right. I thought this little sucker just came out. So that spring fits down that tube. A lot of people don't clean that tube or put anything inside that tube there. I'll go ahead and clean that sucker off. I mean, this looks clean. My bolt should come out now. There's my bolt. It should look nice and clean. Go ahead and clean that up. It's got a serial number on the inside. These three little pieces always, I have to look at them before I put them in because they're a little tricky. I should review my last video where I went over it. So this little thing has to come off here. Remember that. I think this thing pushes down and out. Oh, you know what? There's a little pin right there that I'm supposed to remove. I forgot about that. So this little pin right here pushes out, which should be nice and clean, which it is, nice and lubed up. And now, when I pull this out, everything's going to go kaput. So this little guy comes out. This little guy comes out. This little guy comes off. Here's a little critical part that a lot of people mess up on, is this little detent right here. That moves right inside there. Man, staring in that light, hopefully you can see that. And it moves that little piece down. Well, this little hook, when this goes in there, that has to go underneath there. And I hope you guys can see that because I can't because I'm staring in the light. But this little hook needs to go underneath this little detent here. Damn, that thing's heavy. And this little guy should slide out. The follower. And then you can see I got some oil in these little tracks here that I'm going to put a clean Q-tip in and see if it looks dirty, rusty, or just oil. So clean Q-tip. We're going to clean that little sucker. Those little grooves. I hate getting dirt off my gun. Look at that. That's dirty. And I know I cleaned the crap out of this before. But sitting for a couple years with oil on it, like I said, will loosen up dirt in these little areas that you didn't realize. Now to take this piece off here, I think you have to knock out this little roll pin, and it was a pain. So I am not going to take that off. Maybe I can unclip this and take this wood off, but I don't think I can. I think I need to remove this. Yeah, if I remember correctly, I had to remove this, and that was a pain. Notice there's a little wood chip right there on this stock. I could replace this, or I could get me some wood putty, or I could sand down some wood and mix it with wood glue and put that in there and then sand it back down and color it. I'm not that concerned about it, but there is a little nick right there. Not the end of the world. Gives the gun character. Alright. So, I'm not getting a lot of rust or anything off here. I'm gonna wax all this. Hopefully not the part that needs oil, but the rest of it, I'm gonna put a good coat of wax in there. This gun's what I consider pretty damn clean. Made in 1940. Remember, the spring has a small end and a big end. Very minor. I probably should get a new spring because this one looks like it's stretched out. The reason why that's stretched out is this little piece right here is supposed to go in the smaller end. If you put it in here, you may end up pushing it through the springs and it'll end up going down. The smaller one stops it from going down, and you don't maybe get loose spring tension because your spring starts creeping up over these little lips. So be aware, small end, not big end. Alrighty, I'm going to put some gloves on. I should pause this because my battery's about out. So I'll be back. Let me pause this, recharge the battery.